welcome to our Hustle and Know podcast. We're an entrepreneurship book club turning into the podcast world. Each month we read and discuss books relating to professional development and entrepreneurship. My name is Julie, entrepreneur with a passion for knowledge, and I will be your host today. Joining us today is Joseph Warren, small business co-owner of Financial Planning HQ. We got Shawn Townley in the back, entrepreneur, consultant, speaker, and geek. And we got David DeLao right over here, entrepreneur, husband, and real estate investor. And today we have a special guest, Alex Hernandez. And a little bit about Alex. He was born and raised here in San Antonio, Texas, and has a passion for humanitarian work. He also traveled to 18 countries around the world doing ministry work. UTSA grad, bachelor's in finance, and a huge fan of the Spurs and Mexican national soccer team. And you wouldn't know it, but he is the biggest foodie you'll ever meet. So today we are going to be discussing the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, by Mark Manson. I actually do curse, I was just being funny. Okay, so team, in one word or sentence, give me your synopsis of the book. If you were the author, what main point do you want the reader to take away? How about we start with you, Alex, as our special guest?
Okay, well, as far as what's taken away from this book, first of all, this is a really great book. I recommend this book for anybody for self-development. But also, the reason why I would say I got this book first because I had a little bit of trouble of saying, of really believing of what can I do, but also I always was concerned about what people think about me. You know, am I doing a good job? You know, just meeting people's expectations. So I had struggled with that for a long time. So what I did was I picked up this book and I said, okay, 3 million copies sold, so here we go. And the reason, you know, pretty much what I take away from this book, right? What I take away from this book is your priorities of yourself. You know, you are the priority. You are the one who sets, you know, sets the train. You know what I mean? You're the one who guides everything in your life. You're the one who takes control of your life. And what's more important to you? You know, the world, everything around you, you know, meeting expectations or yourself. And that was my biggest struggle is meeting expectations. But then again, I need to fulfill my expectations. I need to fulfill that. So that's one thing I really took out of this book is yourself is more of you are the priority.
Yeah.
You are the priority.
Very
That's
true.
good.
And that's really, you know, that's one thing I really love about this book.
Okay, what about you, Joseph?
So I'll second what Alex said. I read this book first when I was going through a tough time, and it helped me out a lot to kind of realize the things that you think matter don't really matter that much. You need to focus on what's really important in life. And I have some notes here, but my main takeaway is that life is suffering. So life it's hard, it's not easy, but you need to find something that's worth suffering for. So you need to find your purpose or your cause. That's what I think is the main takeaway from the book. Find something that you're willing to suffer for and then work towards that instead of just suffering because, you know, Julie wants me to do this and David wants me to do that and Alex wants this from me. Nothing against you guys, but just saying that if you don't find a cause or a why in your life, then everyone else will just come in and fill that in.
That is true.
Yeah, I wish I didn't go third. I wish I didn't go third because those are great examples. Yes, the subtle art of not giving a FCK is definitely a book that I would recommend. In one word, I would say that this book would help you focus on not necessarily caring about other people's purpose, prioritization, and understanding your purpose. So purpose, with one word. What I would think the author would want someone to get from this book would be understanding the difference between your priority, your life, and other people's priorities and social norms, and separating the two so you can focus on what's important. Yeah, important. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they said. The book was about, you know, finding what you really care about in life and what's, like Joseph said, what's worth suffering for. because nothing's easy. Like, you can do things that you don't like, and it's still not going to be easy, so you might as well do things that you do like. And if you don't find something to give a fuck about, you're going to be giving a fuck about menial shit, like one of the examples was this old lady at the grocery store, like, clipping her coupons and throwing a huge bitch fit because this one little coupon didn't work. And, like, for normal people, not normal, sorry, you're a normal lady, but for other people, it's like, that's not a big deal because it's not worth giving all your time and energy to something that's that menial. But for her, she has nothing else to care about in the world, so that's where she's throwing all her eggs in that basket, and that's what she's choosing to give a fuck about. So I think that's the main point of this book, is that choose what's important to you and what you're going to care about. Not saying to not give a fuck about anything. It doesn't literally mean like you are not giving a fuck about anything. You have to give a fuck about something. Just be, choosy on what you want to give a fuck about. So, yeah. Right? Exactly. Shawn, what's up?
Well, the artist, Mark, I think we're buds now. I think we're buds.
Best friends.
I think, Mark, the big takeaway from this book is you have a limited amount of fucks, and you can only give so many of them. Don't give them in the wrong places. Make sure they're meaningful. Because if you're giving fucks for no apparent reason, and you're asking for the suffering, what kind of suffering do you want to do? That's the kind of fucks you should be giving.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. Next question. Tell us what you liked best about the book, and tell us what you disliked about the book. David, do you want to go first, and do you want to go third last time?
I will. I will. All right, so I'll start with the ugly, the bad. So I'll start with the bad, so we can end on a good note. Some of the examples were a little shallow. I feel like the purpose of this book is very important, especially to me, because all of my life, well, not just me, I'm sure most people have been subjected to others' opinions, right? And when you're an entrepreneur, when you want to go down a path, when someone close to you tells you an opinion that, because of their personal beliefs, although it may be valid, sometimes hurts. And it's important to distinguish if this is a worthy thing to suffer for or not. And when I say the examples are a little shallow, I feel like he could have went deeper into some of the examples. For example, like my personal story like that. But he does go a little bit. Another thing is about separating each other. So for an example with the grocery lady, it's easy for us to point at those people and be like, oh, you're messing up, right? But people are people. We all make mistakes. If she knew better, she would do better. If she knew that maybe she shouldn't waste so much energy and these $30 coupons, there's more to life, she would do better, right? So that's my little tidbit about what I didn't like. But there was a lot of great things, and one of the most important takeaways for me was in the chapter of the value of suffering, obviously, the best. Well, he tells you, and a lot of this is, a lot of this book is it says one thing, but it really means something completely different. But it says shitty values. So basically, part of the book is saying like, have good values and don't have shitty values. And some of the examples were pleasure, material success, always being right, staying positive. And he goes into why these values, like material success, will never get you anything in life or attribute to it. So I think that's very important because a lot of, especially as Americans, we place such a high thing on the next new thing or pleasure or what everybody else is doing. And that's very important. So I think that was the best thing to do.
That's true. Yeah, he does go back and say that a lot. Like, a lot of it goes down to your values. Like, a lot of the decisions you make, all of it has to do with your values. So just evaluate that. Okay. What about you, Alex?
What I like about the book is just it really helped me pretty much like fulfill myself, my expectations. But what I really like the book, what I love about it is more, it just helped me get through what I need to get through. it really just helped me like, you know what, it's okay, I don't have to meet your needs, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to live up to your expectations. You know, I'm gonna live up to my own because I'm more focused, like 90% is focused on your expectations, but focus on other people's expectations and, you know, focus on them and, you know, what can I do for them? What are they thinking about me? And all that jazz. But then again, I'm all like, no, like I need to focus on myself first before I focus on anybody. That's who I need to give a fuck about is myself. You know, I need to take care of myself first more than anybody because if I can't take care of myself first, I can't give a fuck about anybody else. Right. You know what I mean? So that's what I really liked about it. It's like you are the priority, but what I did not like about the book was actually there's something I like about it because I just totally agree with all 100% of it. I really did. Maybe I could probably say you could probably talk about maybe like, you know, help people, like, you know, help yourself first, but how to help other people don't give a fuck about other people too. That could probably, we could probably throw that in a little bit more, but I think it was just a great book. Honestly, I agree 100%. I love the book entirely. I enjoyed my time reading it. This is my second time reading it again, so it's really amazing.
Oh, good. Joseph?
Okay, what I liked about the book was the humor. So unlike you guys, I actually listened to the audiobook.
I listened to it too.
And I felt like it was, oh, you did? I felt like it was excellent. It was good timing. He did a great job with the voices. But there were certain times where I'd be like just driving in my car and he'd say something really outrageous. And I would just like burst out laughing while I was driving. And it was a good reminder too while I was driving not to like worry so much when people would cut me off and things like that. Just be chill. So it kind of was, I like the message of just focusing on what you can control and not focusing on things you can't control. I remember one example he used was like a short guy who was like, because I'm short, I can never get any dates. And because of that, he was kind of limiting himself with that belief and being a victim. So it was a good message while I was driving. It made me drive a lot slower. But I really just liked the directness of it, just saying, this is the way it is. Even the cussing played into that. I think that was the purpose of it, to be like, sort of get away from all the prudish people who would be offended by that and sort of just get right to the meat of the matter. That was the main thing he was going for. What I didn't like about it, this isn't a book that I would ever recommend like my mom read or my grandma read.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Because I think if you,
Should
after
be
a
too hard on
certain,
you.
You give a fuck about the language, don't you?
I do, maybe I give a fuck about the
Language is much.
Because I think if after you reach a certain age, like maybe 50 or older, you would probably not be able to connect with this book. I think it would probably, maybe the language barrier or something would get to where you'd be like, this is too offensive.
Yeah,
Especially with my grandma, I would be like, I'm not gonna show
Yeah,
her.
I can see what you're saying about that. Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a good side to this. I think this is a perfect book for millennials and younger people. I've noticed that a lot of millennials and younger people have anxiety. So it's really, it's a good reminder to focus on the things that are important and not just kind of create problems out of thin air.
And shall I add on to that?
Yeah,
You know, I really, one thing I really do enjoy about this book, honestly, it talks about, I believe it's in chapter 2, chapter 3, where it says like your family is important. Your family is important. Like that's who the people you need to give a fuck about is your family. It talks about his brother, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Talks about his brother a lot, you know, and his mom. And like these are the people you need to give a fuck about, you know what I mean? These are the people where they're gonna take you to be with you through the whole thing, your whole struggle, or your success, or anything you go through. Because he talks about success a lot. So when you have success, who comes with you? Family.
Yeah. Or if something bad happens
Yeah.
to you, it's not like your Twitter followers are gonna be
Yeah.
there in the hospital with you, you know? It's gonna be the people who actually care about you.
Exactly. And family, that's one thing I really do enjoy.
This might be in the hospital with you nowadays.
It might put you there.
They might put you in the hospital too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
Well, good. So, I really liked basically almost everything in this book. In general, I thought, and I think maybe it's just because we've read so many books, I find like little tidbits that are in this book that I've also heard in other books or that other people have said before. One of the things I guess I could say that I disliked was when he was talking about like the confidence part. I don't know if you remember. He was talking about how like, which I get what he was saying, but I think he was going a little bit too overboard with it. So for example, he was talking about you don't want to be too confident to the point where you're just like talking yourself up but not following through with your actions. So I mean, I agree with that, but I still think you should have a lot of self-confidence in yourself. yourself
Yes.
and belief in yourself, because if you don't, then you also are never going to take the step to do it.
I know exactly what you're talking
So,
about. And I agree.
because yeah, he has the point there where he's like, you know, don't listen to the guy that's always talking about how great he is, but he's just investing in all these things, but he's just getting the money from his grandparents, and he's not following through with anything, like, because he's essentially a narcissist, and he's kind of psycho because he thinks he's so much awesomer than he is. He's really nothing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't think he's nothing. He thinks he's the coolest person in the world.
Right.
So like, yeah, I mean, I see what he's trying to do, but I think I just dislike that
Right.
he went a little overboard with that part.
The point he was trying to make was like,
Right.
if you're not providing value and you're thinking that way, then you're really just wasting your time and everybody else's time and money. But there is a point to have confidence, not to
Right.
just go do it.
But not blind confidence.
Right,
Like,
right.
just
Yeah.
I was just gonna say be
Confidence,
smart,
real
but right?
Yeah.
Real confidence, but maybe more so like a plan of action. Make a plan and follow through with it. Don't just be confident.
Just because you say it doesn't mean you did it.
Exactly, exactly. Shawn.
Yeah, Mark is a millennial. You know,
Is he
and the
really?
part I didn't like about this book is how he harshed on the Xers. Fuck him. Talking about in the 70s is when we started handing out all these little placards to everybody for just existing. Yeah, that was bullshit. That was the boomers. That was the damn grandparents. That wasn't the latchkey kids Xers. So fuck you, Mark, for bringing up the Xers and their kids.
Yo, this isn't hot takes yet.
Oh, it's all right. What I love about the book. Oh my God, it's a little bitty book. It's tiny. You can get through it like I started it yesterday again. I'm going through it like the second or third time. But it's just so cool how he promotes suffering. And when I say suffering, I mean, what do you want to do? Because you know what? I would love to have a six pack. I'd love to look like the guy on TV. I'm not willing to suffer to do it.
Right?
Screw that. Here's what I'm willing to suffer to do. Maybe later on with some liver problems because I keep drinking every day. How do you want to suffer? I love framing success in the way that you want to suffer. How successful do you want to be? A CEO, 60 hours a week? You want to have the rock star job? Screw that. I want to be with my friends drinking, doing a book club. You know what? So no, CEO's not for me, right? That's what I love about the book, is putting it in perspective. Because anything you're going to do in life, you're going to suffer for. You're going to have to make a decision on, I'm not going to do this so I can do this. Well,
So,
cheers to my buds.
cheers.
Cheers.
I'm suffering with you.
Yay.
So I would like to add to what
Sure.
I've had a leader once tell me, I'm not going to take the credit for this because this is definitely not me. But he told me once, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So the way he kind of that means is, say if you have in the military we have this Pixie test, right? So you have to get up in the morning, every morning, and run for your PT test, right? And that's maybe 45 minutes earlier than you would get up than every other day. And that's the pain of discipline. You get up, and then ultimately the result is that you pass your PT test, which is good. In the military, we take these pretty seriously. As a civilian world, I know it might not seem like a lot, but it could affect your career because you don't run, which is, and I don't know about you, but if your career was in jeopardy because you didn't exercise, would that seem a little kind of stupid, right? Well, the pain of regret is not getting up 45 minutes early and then failing and then possibly losing your career and then putting every other thing that your career depended on in jeopardy. So to put that into perspective in other ways is anything that you have a goal for, the pain of discipline could be, that 60-hour a week that you put in, or the 40-hour a week, using your time effectively. So that is a part that I kind of didn't like about this book also as well, is a cop-out in a way. Like, I'm not willing to suffer for something, but in reality, if it means a lot to you, you should be willing to suffer. So for me, I was a little indifferent reading the book, but I totally get what he's saying. If you're wanting to go for it, you gotta be willing to suffer for it.
You
So
think
if
you're
it's-
special. You think you're different than everybody else out there, don't you?
Oh, I definitely no.
No,
When
I
I
think
put
you
my no, for real. Whenever you put your mind to something, anybody, if you're really focused on it, truly, there's amazing things that a human can achieve.
Unless you're a psycho girlfriend that keeps stalking him and meeting up with him in front of his fiance.
I mean, she could have done that pretty well.
Just
She could have done that pretty well.
I think it's just people. They probably really want it, but they just don't know what they're getting themselves into. They don't
for
think
sure.
it through. Like they're just like, I'm gonna do this, but they don't.
But
Okay, let me think
don't
of what
sell
it takes.
yourself out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you
I think if
wanna
they actually
achieve
thought
high
about
things-
it, like
yeah.
what it takes beforehand, they'd choose their dream. And then if they did, then you know they didn't really want it. Like it's just, I don't know.
That
They
is
don't know what
true.
they're.
Well, it
signing up
comes
for.
down to, and that's why I was saying values. When you know your
Yeah.
values, it's easy to choose what. It's not easy, but it's easier to choose what you want to do with your life. Like, if you know that, okay, my family relationship is my values, then it's really easy determining, do I want this promotion and to get more money, or do I want to be at my son's baseball game? Like, that's easy. My son's baseball game is going to come first. Like, it's very easy.
For someone who does the family values, yeah.
Well, right, but if it's like my value is, and you know, it's really sad to say, but some people value money, and he talks about that here, the material success. If you put that as a higher value and you kind of use this in the opposite way, well, your other areas that you value or you do value that are below that are going to suffer, right? So it all is about prioritization.
For any change to happen in your life, you must be wrong about something. You know, if you're miserable day after day, you're already wrong about something. Until you're able to question yourself about where to find it, nothing will change. So basically, it's saying like, you know, if you're unhappy with your life for whatever reason, do something about it, like change it. And it's also an indicator. Like if you are unhappy and you're miserable every day, like why? Like think about it. Like really evaluate yourself and think about like, why am I unhappy? Because you're not in line with what you're meant to be doing with your life. But I think he does say that a lot in the book. Like really like question yourself, really think about like what you want, and then go from there. Okay, this is my little point. Next question. Last question. So make it good. I'm just kidding. Okay, what is something that you learned from this book that you didn't know before? And tell me one or more examples of how you're going to apply that to your real life. Let's see. Who wants to go first? Any volunteers?
Joseph
I
does.
just don't want anybody to take mine.
Joseph.
So,
You should go first.
okay. I knew it, but it really forced me to realize that I waste my time a lot helping people when I shouldn't do that. Or not helping people, but I give people my time, kind of like listening to salespeople,
Giving the wrong
digital
fucks?
marketers, especially digital marketers. Like they often would contact me on LinkedIn, and I used to actually like get in conversations with them and talk about, oh, I don't know, I'm not doing anything with Facebook right now, getting into the weeds with them. And it was such a waste of time. Like I wasted so much time doing that. I think it just taught me, or it made me see the importance of saying no to stuff. So you're not always so busy doing a bunch of different things. I heard something somewhere else, like it's either you really want to do something or no. So if you don't really want to do something, you should just say no. And just like a year ago, maybe 6 months back, I used to always give people my time. I would just treat it like it was candy, just give it away for free. And it left me just wasting a lot of time, feeling unfulfilled and kind of feeling burnt out. So since I've read this, I no longer reply to people on LinkedIn unless they really can help me.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I need you to speak on Friday if you don't mind.
Really?
Yeah, dude. But that. Go ahead.
No. We'll talk later. We'll talk.
Well, good.
That's yeah.
Julie?
Me?
You?
I'll go.
Anybody?
I'll go. So, I did know this, but I had not been using it, and this was just like a good reminder. The do something principle. I really like this about the book. He goes, if you're stuck on a problem, don't sit there and think about it. Just start working on it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, the simple act of working on it will eventually cause the right ideas to show up in your head. So I really like this, actually. You know, they always say that, like, just start typing, like, free writing type of thing, if you're, like, in a rut, and then, like, the ideas will come to you. And this is also something we read in the book, Think and Grow Rich. Like you have to be like in a meditative state, and that's how like a lot of the great inventors came up with literally everything. Was they were just like make sure they were in their right mind, like in a meditative state, and then they just start writing, and then shit would come to them, and then boom, now we have this great invention. So I really like that part, and I'm gonna start doing that. It's also like kind of like a cure for procrastination too. You know, just start doing it. That's what he was saying. Like, you know, if you don't
Like
wanna,
watching last month's video.
exactly. If you like me, if like the example he said was if you need to edit a website or whatever, make a website, and you know, oh, I'll just do it later. Okay, well let me just do the header. Okay, well once you do the header, you're like, okay, well let me just fix this paragraph real quick. Okay, well you're already in there. Let me just do this. And next thing you know, the whole thing's done. So that logic, I really like that. I'm gonna start doing it again because I had been slacking.
Can I say a quote about that?
Go for it.
It's perfect. Okay. I don't know who said this, but you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. It was a quote I just heard today, so I thought I would share this.
Perfect.
It was Spider-Man's uncle, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
It was
really?
the great,
yeah. With
great
great power
responsibility.
comes great
Yeah. Okay.
So, you want to go?
I'll go. What I really take away from this book is self-reflection. Everyone says you need to look in the mirror. Not necessarily. You have to look in your mind and you got to look in your heart.
Yeah.
You really do. And and honestly, like self-reflection is more like, you know, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, what am I thinking of? And how is it going to get me to where I need to be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can look in the mirror and that's not going to say anything. It's really going to come from right here and right here. You know, it really does. So what I'm taking away from this book is, you know, like self-prioritize, but also sacrifice. Learning how to say no.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm going to have to say no. I've been saying no to my friends. Like, just the other day, my friend says, hey, you know, like, you want to go out and have some drinks or something like that? It's around about like 9 o'clock at night. And I said, no, man, I can't. I have to wake up early in the morning. You know what I mean? I have to got some things I have to take care of in the morning. You know, and like, and I'm so glad I did because if I didn't, I know that I'll wake up real late. And I know I won't get to it till about 11 or 12. Half the day's gone. So I really have to, you know, pretty much like prioritize myself.
Easy for you to say.
Yes. You know, I have to do that. You know, so that's one thing I'm really taking away from this book is you are the priority and sacrifice, but also, you know, look at yourself. You know, is it going to get you where you want to be? So that's one thing I'm taking away from this.
Priorities. You are the priority.
Thank you, ma'am.
You do
Okay.
you, boo.
Do you, boo-boo?
So, I don't know who said it earlier, but your emotions are a reflection of right or wrong. I don't know if one of you said something about it earlier. But in the book he mentions your emotions are just a reflection of right or wrong. So happy, you know, is receptive. That feedback is good, you know. And whenever you feel something in your gut that might be not good, it means that something might not be right. So something that I took away from this book that I've been learning a little bit more is to listen to my emotions, but understand that they're just emotions. There's nothing more. I don't need to make a decision right off of it right now, but just to help me understand it a little bit more. So that's something I took away from this book, to listen to them and maybe not make decisions based off of them, but just listen and understand it might just be good or bad.
Exactly. Do not make decisions on emotions because that will pass real quick. Okay, awesome, Shawn. You want to tell us what you are going to do in your life from what you learned in this book?
I'm going to listen to my pain and suffering because it is a reaction to something that's symptomatic of a bigger problem, right? Maybe I'm giving too much of a fuck about something, right? And there's going to be pain for it. And if there is pain, was it something worth going through, or is it something I couldn't help going through? I mean, you know, he talked about man losing a child, you know, not really knowing how to respond to that, and then trying to power through that. How you react is different than things not being your fault. Fault is something that happens to you. How you react to it, and how you, what did he say? What was the word he used? He used the word accountability, right? How you're accountable for it. You're accountable for your actions going forward, regardless of how you got there. So I think that was a huge lesson learned for me. I look back and feel that my life so far has been pretty successful, I'm still bitter old man about a few things, but maybe I should understand what that's truly about.
Evaluate yourself, bro.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely.
Yeah, it
Inspect
says,
yourself before you wreck yourself. Got it? Yeah.
yeah, he's
Inspect
like,
yourself.
you don't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we interpret and interact with that. The primary lesson that he did say near the end of this book that he does want us to take away is that there is nothing to be afraid of ever. He goes near the end of the book and he talks about his best friend passing away in like a moment, and he went through a really bad depression about it. And basically, you know how there's the expression YOLO, you only live once. You know, there's also like the reverse. I don't know if you've seen, there's like an SNL skit where they make fun of it, but it's reverse. You only live once, so like protect your life. Don't ever do anything. Stay inside because the house could go on fire. Like just making fun of it, it's a comedy parody, obviously. There is no reason to do anything because of the fear, and there's no reason not to do anything. So it makes more sense. So exactly. So bottom line, just live your life the way you want it. Evaluate yourself. Use your intuition to trust your values, what's right and what's wrong, and just go for it. You have nothing to lose but your life. Okay, thank you.
Right here.
Thank
Awesome
you.
book.
Thank you so much for listening to our Hustle and Know podcast. You can check us out on YouTube and podcasts. Thank you to Bar America. We are here today in honor of Memorial Day. And thank you again for our guest, Alex Hernandez, and our wonderful normal staff. And hustle beats talent, and talent doesn't hustle.